Hey everybody, John Raridan here for Nintendo World Report TV. Now you may remember just before the Switch 2 came out, I put together a video exploring the mouse mode, looking at kind of how excited I am for that and sort of the promise of what that could be. Now that the system's out, I wanted to sort of dedicate a video to actually looking at how that mouse mode has come together, how it works, how it's been implemented so far, what are the drawbacks, what are the pros and cons of this thing. So I've got 3 different games that all use the mouse functionality. I'm going to go through each of them and just sort of look at what sort of options they have, how the mouse actually performs, and see how things are shaping up just from these launch titles. One thing I do want to mention right at the beginning, out of the box in the Switch 2, you get this guy. One for each Joy-Con that attaches to the bottom for mouse mode. It's also, for just a strap, I suppose, if you want to do a bunch of motion control stuff, but primarily for mouse mode. It has these sort of they're not quite felt pads, but they're like a soft plastic pad on the bottom, and then it just gives a little extra width to the bottom of the Joy-Con to theoretically, if I can put it on the right way, there we go, theoretically make it a little more balanced. If you try to do mouse mode without this, it's really easy to knock this thing over. Now, the one thing I will say is even with this, I think that this is too thin. I think that it's just, when you actually rest your hand on it, and I have pretty little hands, when you rest your hand on it, it's very easy to just sort of knock this over one way or the other, especially if you're moving around a lot. I don't like the attachment that Nintendo bundled with this, and I find it kind of baffling that it's not just wider, that it doesn't just add some extra width, because if it just came out maybe half an inch to the right and left, I think it would be so much better. The other issue I have with it is just that your right 2 fingers just sort of rest a little awkwardly off the side here. The thumb isn't as bad because you do still have access to the analog stick and the face buttons, which I do actually like, and that's kind of interesting for control schemes to have an analog stick on the side. I've seen some games so far kind of use that almost like a mouse wheel, which I actually like. But this is not super comfortable. I'm not a huge fan of how this thing actually fits in your hand. So on launch day, I was trying this with Cyberpunk and thought, surely this is a problem other people have noticed too, and I have faith in the internet. I'll bet someone has designed a shell for this thing that is more what I want. So I went on Etsy, and what would you know? There are a million of them. This one was, I think, about $15. I can link to the specific one that I got in the description. But it is just a 3D printed little shell that your Joy-Con slides into that is much more mouse shaped and also gives you that extra base. You can see just the difference in width. But this just slides in, and then you have something that's much more like a mouse. I did think this little gap up here was weird at first, but when I actually put my hands on it, that's fine. But this just gives your palm something to actually rest on and makes this feel so much more sturdy. You can actually kind of slide it around. It's not going to fall over. So I highly recommend this, and I'm amazed that Nintendo doesn't have one. It's such an obvious needed product for this thing. And if it doesn't come in the box, from the company that Nintendo is still making wheels for the Joy-Cons, but the company that has made Wii wheels repeatedly that do nothing won't make an actual just mouse attachment for their system that has mouse functionality. I don't know. But we can now look at how this thing actually functions. Keep in mind, the actual technical performance of it is the same whether we have this attachment on or not. This is just personally, for me, I find this more comfortable. Even on the main menu, you have a actual mouse. It's especially nice. I actually had a moment at work today where I wanted to check something on the eShop real quick, and I had my Switch just sort of sitting on a stand in front of me. And I just turned it on, grabbed the right Joy-Con out, and actually used this to just quickly browse the eShop, which I thought was really cool. The mouse still works. You can drag through here. You can click and drag. You can also use the analog stick to move this up and down, and then you have all your shortcuts down here. But of course, you can still access A, B, and all that on the actual mouse. So this works great for this. And it's maybe my preferred way to navigate this. I never think things like this work really well on a controller. So just being able to quickly navigate it with a mouse is pretty awesome. And I really think it improves the experience. But let's look at an actual game. Let's go into Cyberpunk as our first game that we're going to look at here. Now, I will say with Cyberpunk, you do need to enable mouse mode. It does not automatically kick in like it does with some games, which is kind of weird. Go into settings. I think some of this is locked behind, like you have to get through like kind of the early tutorials for some of this stuff to kick on. Gonna turn on mouse mode, and then you have like your different sensitivities and everything. The one thing we don't have in this, at least as far as I can find, I don't think it's in control scheme either. Let me go over to mouse sensor. Yeah. We can't remap the buttons when we're in mouse mode, or really any mode, but the other modes like the general mode has a couple different control options. I guess it doesn't do much. It essentially just swaps A and B. Yeah, so there's not a lot, like there's no button mapping in this. You could button map at a system level, but that's not ideal. So that would sort of be my one complaint here. In Cyberpunk, the R, so the smaller of the two buttons on the Joy-Con, this one, that is your fire button. I personally, and that is, you know, accurate to a regular computer mouse, would be on the left click. Because it's so small, I kind of would almost prefer it on this button, but that's a minor complaint. Once again, it would be cool if we could button map and just make that decision ourselves. But that's not how it works. Anyway, we've got this enabled now, so as you can see, we have a cursor on screen. Okay, so this is actually another weird thing with Cyberpunk. When I click that fire button, any of these trigger buttons, they do not select this menu item. I have to push A. So another thing where it kind of feels like it's like the mouse mode is only half implemented. It's totally functional. All the buttons are there. I can access all of them just fine. But a little awkwardness. You would expect it to be mapped exactly like the PC version. That's what I do, but for some reason it is not. So yeah, once I get out here, move around. You can adjust the sensitivity in the menu if you need to, but honestly, I think I have these both at 5, right? Settings. Nope. Still have to push A. That's weird. Mouse. Yeah, so I have both of these at 5. And this is honestly pretty good. I'm not doing huge motions with the mouse, and I'm getting a good range of motion. Should I start a fight? Can I get somewhere where I'm not gonna just... Is everybody gonna get mad that I have my guns out? So yeah, to shoot, it's this, not this. So it's the smaller button. You can still aim through the trigger on the left Joy-Con. Let's shoot this guy. Ooh, can you hear the vibration? It is weird to have a mouse that vibrates. Maybe that is a product that exists on PC, but I've never had a mouse that does that. Let's get out of here, because I have started a fight. Where I need a vehicle. Let's call my... I didn't mean to pull them all up. I just wanted one. Where's my car? Where's my car? There's my car. Give me the car. Once again, pushing Y to get into a car, which is a little awkward on the mouse. And now it controls our camera, which honestly is pretty nice for when we do want to shoot from within our car. Being able to use the mouse to aim, I find feels really nice. Oops. Though I am not good at driving, apparently, while using a mouse. Your actual car driving is on the left stick. That's one of the interesting things about this, is because unlike a PC where you'd have your right hand would be on a mouse and then your left hand would be on the keyboard, probably on WASD for like movement. On the Switch, you still have analog movement on your left hand because you have half of a controller, which is very interesting. So it's, in my mind, kind of this cool hybrid between mouse and keyboard that even on other systems that support a mouse, like say an Xbox Series X, you would generally also plug in a keyboard and just have a traditional mouse and keyboard setup. Who's chasing me? Yeah, so it makes for a nice sort of combo between what you would normally get on PC and what you would get on console, which I think is really cool and pretty unique. It kind of feels like the best of both worlds, and I really like it. But yeah, so Cyberpunk, functional implementation. I would like a little more customization, and I think that they need to reassign certain button prompts when you are in mouse mode to get it to behave like it should. Would you leave me alone? Just you're in my car. Oh, are you dead? Did I get you? No, you're still alive. Oh, did that get you? Are you dead now? You gonna leave me alone? Decent implementation. Could be better with a few small changes, but you know, for a launch title, reasonable. Not horribly impressive, but reasonable. And it does, like, the raw functionality of the mouse works really well. like just to aim feels like I am playing a PC game, which is cool. That was the grenade button. That's the other thing. The big button is the grenade button. So occasionally when I'm playing like this, I forget that, and I throw a grenade instead of shooting. Now another game that supports mouse mode at launch is Hogwarts Legacy. Now just to be clear, because I know, you know, Harry Potter, I did not pay for this game. I was sent a code for it. So canonically, not supporting the game, we were sent a code. We're not going to review the game here. We're just going to talk about how the mouse works on the Switch. If that bothers anyone, that we are technically featuring Hogwarts Legacy, I understand. And feel free to skip this part if you want. Default sensitivity settings on this feel really low. Like I have to move a lot to move this cursor a little. So it feels very heavy. So here, yeah, we have mouse controlling our camera. The sensitivity feels better in the actual game. But I want to see. Let's see, can I get to do we have settings for sensitivity here? Probably this. I will say, to Hogwarts Legacy's credit, the actual button, like the selection for menus, is on a mouse click, unlike Cyberpunk, which had it on A. So that's, you know, an improvement. What I want to see, mouse sensor sensitivity, 1. Oh, okay. I was worried this was going to be like 1 and 2. Okay, we have a bit more. Let's bring that up a lot. Is there like an apply? Does that apply automatically? Oh yeah, here we go. That's better. Is that good for menus too? Oh yeah, that's better. Okay, so default sensitivity very low, but can be edited, and that feels much better. Maybe I should have gone through the tutorial before I recorded. You know, when you're like those little like hologram things, you can kind of move like a little bit and get like a 3D view. That's the Hogwarts Legacy experience. Her hair does not play nice with the upscaler. I assume it's DLSS, but might be like FSR. Struggling with her hair. Oh, and that foliage. Oh yeah, everything as he walks by looks looks a little rough. Which is funny because I feel like at the internal resolution of this is probably better than Cyberpunk, but I feel like the image quality might actually be worse. I need to get to a point where I can do more than just look around with the mouse. Alright, I'm back and I've changed characters. I loaded up our save from when we were testing the Switch version of this. I will say, this looks better than the Switch version. Now I can actually navigate. Interactions on the actual mouse buttons, not the face buttons, unlike Cyberpunk, which is good. I believe this version has less loading screens than the Switch version, and probably faster loading screens than the Switch version, but definitely still more loading screens than like PS5 or Series X. Here we go. Can I use... Nice. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so in this, it's like I was talking about with Cyberpunk. The like fire button is actually on ZR as opposed to R, which is the bigger button here on the right. So the reverse of what you would expect on an actual like a PC mouse, but I think on a Switch mouse this is actually more comfortable. Just because it's the bigger button. I don't know what this button I guess is just for like interacting with doors and stuff. Now I'm curious if I pick this up. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so if I pick this up, so I'm holding it like a normal Joy-Con now, the button prompt switches to Y. So yeah, unlike Cyberpunk where you had to manually do that, this one is doing it automatically. So not to give Hogwarts Legacy too much credit, but they're, you know, on a purely technical level, their implementation of the mouse mode, I would say, is better than Cyberpunk, just sort of at a glance. It is sort of weird, I will say, that fire is on the ZR, but that's not like the confirm button. Like I sort of feel like by default, whatever, like if I'm playing like a first person shooter or something, my left click and my select on like a menu are the same button. So I have a little trouble when I bring up this menu. I want to keep using ZR to select things since that's what I've been using to fire, but it's not. It's on R, which is a little odd. But let's go in here. I want to see what we have for button mapping. It doesn't look like there is anything. We have like obviously, you know, inverting controls and camera sensitivity and stuff like that. But as far as actually remapping the controller, yeah, we do not have anything like that. So that's unfortunate. But the actual like default implementation, I would say is better than Cyberpunk. So, you know. Okay, I've got one more game I want to test. It's not No Man's Sky, though I kind of wish it was. That doesn't have mouse mode support yet, but that's one that I would like mouse support in. The actual game I want to test is Fortnite. I have played this with mouse mode already, and what I will say is that and this applies to every version of Fortnite, but the menus in Fortnite are horrible. So it did take me a second to figure out how to get mouse mode to happen, because like Cyberpunk, it does not just like kick in automatically when you set your Joy-Con down. You have to go turn it on. Which I guess that would be my note for developers. I think one of the cool things about the concept of mouse mode on the Switch 2 is just being able to take it off, set it down, you're in mouse mode. So that's the way it should work. The way we saw it working in like Metroid Prime 4 during their presentation, that's the way it should work. The way that Hogwarts Legacy had it, that is the way it should work. So for both this and Cyberpunk, you do have to go in and manually activate it, which I'm not a huge fan of. It should kick in by default. If you want to give people the option to just like turn it off, sure, great. But I think it should just automatically happen. Matchmaking issues. I'm trying to record a video here, Fortnite. You're not allowed to have matchmaking issues while I'm trying to record a video. So settings. On this one, select is on ZR. None of the games we've done have handled just selecting things in a menu the same way. So there's a mouse icon over here. That's where you turn it on. You can turn it on for the left, like you can swap, or you can do both. I don't know how both works. Okay, so like this is now also, I don't have a good setup for this. Oh, okay. This has tons of settings. I don't know. I think you can remap all of your buttons. Is it this? You might be able to remap your buttons on Fortnite, but I think this menu system is just a UI disaster. What's this control mapping? See, these two controllers and controller with settings, those don't have control mapping. D-pad is control mapping. Mouse, not control mapping. D-pad, obviously control mapping. Okay, so you can go in here and remap everything on Fortnite. So credit to them for that. So we have it activated where both of these are mice, and we are using the Master Chief skin on Switch 2. Trying to will Microsoft into putting the Master Chief collection on here. We found a game. Despite the matchmaking issues, we have found a game. We are dual wielding our mice. An awkward spot to do this. So, wait, but they both look around. I kind of figured this would like make me run in some weird way. Oh yeah, I still run with this. Oh no. Nope. 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 No. No. Okay. We're listen. You know, maybe there's some interesting accessibility use for that, and it's probably great that that is a feature. We're not going to use it. How's that? That sensitivity feels all right. Maybe a little low. Let's crank up that sensitivity just a hair. Let's go like, and let's go like, see how that feels. My strat for Fortnite is to land somewhere high. I find that most people go for buildings. They'll either go for like, you know, the big settlements or like some outposts or something. I just try to land on top of a mountain, because a lot of times there's items up there, and if not, I can find something as I slide down. This guy's gonna do the same thing. This guy right here. Oh no, he's going over there. Okay, we're good. Items? Is that a treasure chest? Perfect. See? Always something on top of the who's here. I see the warning. Don't you come in before me. No. This is my treasure chest. You stay back. I don't know how to... Okay. Stay... What are you... Okay, well, I got that person. So in this one, fire is on ZR, which I think is correct. And then L is actually to change weapons, which is the same as when you're playing with a controller. Or sorry, L. R is to change weapons. L also changes weapons. So you can go back and forth like that. But I think having these two do that, this change weapons, and the right one, this one shoot. I just wasted a bullet. And then you're aiming down the sights is on the other Joy-Con. I think that feels pretty good. It's interesting, like I said with Cyberpunk, because you're getting this sort of combo of mouse and keyboard and a controller. Because if you were just playing with a mouse and keyboard, aim down the sights would be the right mouse button, and the left mouse button would be to shoot. But here, since we do have the other trigger, in a controller-based first-person shooter, you would expect that to be how you aim down the sights, so that's how it works here. And it's very interesting, and I could see, you know, different developers kind of implementing it in different ways. Fortnite, I think, is pretty, outside of having to manually activate it as opposed to it just kicking in, which I think is how it should work, is it should just kick in. Outside of that, I think this feels fairly good. Somebody's been here. I'm gonna light a fire. It's worth XP. Jump Unbound. It's on B. What are you talking about? You mean Unbound? Yeah, that's actually interesting. So, jump is over here. That's build. I can... Okay, so X is to switch weapons. Y is to reload. So you are still using these. The analog stick doesn't... Oh, I can crouch by clicking the analog stick. Otherwise, the analog stick doesn't do anything. You could map something to it, I suppose. I'm not sure what you would want on there. But you do have that option. I think my one thing... This is not a complaint about the Switch Joy-Con. It's about my little attachment here. I think I need like some felt or something. It doesn't always move the smoothest, and so trying to do like really finite, like small movements. The actual Joy-Con is working fine, but I can sometimes it doesn't slide like it should. He's right outside. Leave me alone. Don't come in. All right, well, that was a short-lived game, but implemented well. I was sort of hoping I would do well on the game that I was recording, but alas, it didn't happen. So that's where we're at with this thing. Final kind of thoughts on it so far. I think from a purely like technical level, as far as like responsiveness and how this thing actually works, I think it's great. I think it really handles well. My complaint is purely from sort of like a form factor ergonomic perspective. Look, I got rewards. That's exciting. Let's claim them all. I think that the attachment that comes with it is like, obviously their goal was to add some extra width, size to like the foot of this thing to make it a little more stable and to make it slide better. I think, you know, it does slide well, but it falls over very easily, and just ultimately isn't very comfortable. I would recommend, if you have interest in using this thing as a mouse, spend $15, hop on Etsy. There are a million different people selling this. Like I said, I'll link to the one I got in the description, but there are a million of them. They're all very similar. Find the one that ergonomically looks right to you. I bought this one because it was mouse-shaped, but it was also one of the cheaper ones. But I think hypothetically, this thing is really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing more implementations. I do think if you are a developer making a game with this in mind, there are a couple things. One, I would say put your primary action, like shoot or whatever it is, even though it's opposite of how it would be on a PC mouse, put it on ZR. Put it on the right button. It's bigger, it's more comfortable to use as your primary action. And then also make the mouse mode activate automatically when you set this thing down in mouse position. Don't make me go through a bunch of settings to activate it. If you want to have a setting in there to like turn it off, fine. But as far as just being able to grab the Joy-Con off the Switch and just set it down, I want that to just immediately activate mouse mode. And of the 3 games we tested, only one of them did that. And the other 2 maybe go through a convoluted settings menu to get there. That's not how it should work. It should just be, it should automatically detect when the mouse mode can kick in, that it should kick in. And then when you are using mouse mode, like make sure that like buttons are redistributed. So like with Cyberpunk, still having like interact, like get into a car being on Y as opposed to one of the mouse buttons is silly. That's something that really only Cyberpunk had a lot of trouble with that. Everything else we tried was fine. And then maybe let me remap my buttons. So, you know, then if you are like, no, we must put the fire button on the left mouse button because that's how it is on PC, fine. Let me remap it. Easy. But as far as the hardware itself goes, I think it works well. Form factor is bad. I'm amazed that Nintendo does not have this product officially, because it just feels so obvious that this should come in the box. Or Nintendo, you can sell this separately for like $15, and I would have bought it from you, but instead I bought it from a random dude on Etsy with a 3D printer. So you missed out on $15. But that's all I've got for now, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to Nintendo World Report TV, and you can check out NintendoWorldReport.com for a whole lot more. If you have any questions for me about any of this, you can feel free to reach out on your social network of choice. I primarily have been hanging out on Blue Sky recently, but I am still on Twitter and all the other ones. So feel free, reach out, say hello. We can talk about this. If you'd like to chat with us about this or anything else Nintendo related, you can also join our Discord. There's a link in the description. Once again, my name's John Raridan. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.